Oh my God, bukas may meeting kami. Tomorrow, my principal asked me to facilitate a meeting. We need to decide about the graduation. Anong activities mangyayari sa graduation? And I'll have to meet with my co-teachers. Paano yan? Anong mga kailangan ko? Nakakataranta. Tapos andun pa yung mga matitigas na ulong mga co-teachers ko. Oh my goodness, paano ko gagawin to? Now, we need to calm down. There is an art of facilitation. Today, we'll talk about that. We'll share our experiences. And then at the end of this session, we will have, some confidence in doing this. Are you ready? Here we go. So our objectives for today would be the following. Theory first. Let's identify techniques and best practices in facilitating meetings. Of course, our setting is educational setting. And then pag may theory na tayo, we can practice it. We'll try to apply these strategies in dealing with miscommunication, misunderstanding, para, we have a sense on how it's done and how it's done better than the way we do it. Now, these are the agenda for today. So we have an hour and a half. I tried to, break down the topics, and then beside that, nandun na po yung corresponding minutes. We'll talk about the nature and meaning of facilitation. We'll talk about the 5 basic tips in-person meeting. This will take much of our time. Then virtual meeting reminders. Paano naman pag virtual na, di ba? Not all meetings now are in face-to-face, right? Now, screw-ups. Ano yung mga kapalpakan na pwede mangyari? We'll see team building and Zoom breakers. Paano ba ma-spice up these meetings, right? And then we'll have a practicum on facilitating. Tingnan natin kung kaya na natin mag-facilitate. And then towards the end, meron tayong Q&A. First part is the nature of meetings and the facilitator. We will start with what is effective group meetings. Now, we know that meetings can range from very energizing, right? Talagang full of energy, very creative expression ng lahat, or it could be a simple waste of energy. In many cases, guys, the quality of facilitation depends on the facilitator, of course. Now, the staff, the task force, and information sharing meetings are the most common types, okay? Yan, yun lang. Information. Ito ang mangyayari. 88% po ng mga meeting, ganyan lang. Ito ang gagawin nyo. Ito information. These are the dates. These are the topics. Ganyan lang. No, one way ba? One way. 88% of the meetings are like that. Ano pa? Between 31 to 60 minutes is the average meeting length. Okay, but according to research, ano pa? 50% of the time is wasted. Nasasayang lang pala yun, di ba? Dun sa mga meeting allotment, wasted kasi. Bakit? Hindi handa. What else can we know? 63% naman of the meetings are conducted without a planned agenda. Bigla na lang nagmi-meeting, 60% of the meetings, right? Bigla lang lulusob na doon. Pero walang agenda, walang hindi naka-spell out lahat ng gagawin. Okay, following a detailed agenda and starting on time. Now, if you're doing your agenda and you started on time, guess what? You can reduce meeting times up to 80%. See? So, nakasave kayo ng 20% time. 80% of the time, tapos ka na. Okay, ano pa? 9 out of 10. What is 9 out of 10? Ayan po yung mga nananaginip. May mga nagde-daydream o andun uma-attend ng meeting pero ang isip ay nasa kabilang ibayo na, ang meeting ay nandun na, iniisip na anong gagawin sa pagdating ng susunod na sweldo. Tapos ano pa yung 73%? 73% of the people work on their things during meetings. Alam nyo yan, di ba? Habang nagmi-meeting, ayan si ma'am, nagche-check pa rin ng mga test papers, ayan, nagse-selfie, nagte-text, okay, nag-FB, nagche-check ng email at kung ano pang ginagawa. Iyan po ang mga taong kung ano-ano ang pinaggagawa. So, that's what's happening in a, generally in a meeting. So, paano natin aatakihin yan? How will you, as a facilitator, counteract all these things and make your meeting very effective? Okay. So, all throughout this topic, we're going to have breakout rooms, and you will be placed in small groups for you to talk and discuss about specific prompts. Okay, let's start with the first breakout discussion. Ito po ang tanong na sasagutin ninyo. Number 1, have a quick introduction, state your name and what you do, okay? Something interesting about yourself, probably. And number 2, what makes a successful and fulfilling meeting? And put yourself as in the shoes of a facilitator or as an attendee. Ano ba ang successful na meeting? Ano yung gusto mong mangyari? Okay? Okay, napakaganda ng ating group discussion, right? And if you summarize all of them, what is really the objective of the meeting? What do we want to happen? Okay, ito pang gusto natin mangyari. Number 1, to achieve the group's objective. Kung ano man ang nais ng grupo, dapat mangyari yon. Kung kailangan magplano para sa graduation, dapat may plano at the end. Kung kailangan ilista kung sino ang mga nangangailangan ng tulong, dapat may listahan at the end of the meeting. Number 2, it should take up a minimum amount of time. If possible, tignan nyo, kung ang meeting ay 1 oras, ang objective natin, sana matapos natin within 1 hour or lesser para mas masaya ang mga tao. And number 3, it should leave the participants a feeling that a sensible process has been followed. Dapat may feeling po yung mga umattend ng meeting na, ay, salamat, nagawa natin lahat at maganda naman yung paraan. It's very objective. So those 3, di ba? Parang you have your means to an end ay nangyari. The means is good, the end is good, and it happened in the shortest possible time. Uuwi ang inyong mga attendees na masaya at hindi luhaan. Now, so alam na natin mga objective natin. Dapat sa isang meeting, ganun ang mangyayari, di ba? So ngayon, let's talk about the meeting facilitator. Ikaw na, ito ang bida, ito ang magtatrabaho ng husto. Tingnan natin. Okay, so beyond the definition, let's look at this. Ano ba role ng isang facilitator? Number 1, facilitation makes making all group interactions better. Okay, so lahat ng nangyayari within the meeting, kailangan mapadali, hindi mapahirapan. Okay, ano pa? Facilitation helps groups and organizations identify and resolve difficult issues. Like I said, at the end, there should be a solution. And number 3, it provides unique solutions to unique needs. Unique ang solution mo, hindi yung one solution fits all. Kunyari, meron kayong resolution, this works for the upper grades, this works for the lower grades, you know. There is a solution, yes, but it should adapt to the needs of specific people or groups. And number 3, it is based on techniques that are only appropriate or inappropriate, not right or wrong. Ibig sabihin, it is tested talaga. Ang gagamitin natin ay either effective to o hindi effective. Okay? It is easily spelled out and we know, and it is tested whether it is, you know, it's right or wrong. Kasi pinag-usapan natin. Next, so a good facilitator does the following. Number 1 is empathetic. Empathetic. Alam mo ano ang nararamdaman ng grupo o ng kada tao. It is result-oriented. Siyempre, may resulta, di ba? It is a master of process. If you're a facilitator, you have all these, you know, tools within your hands. Kung palpak ito, let me try this. Okay? Hindi ako makaurong kasi pasaway tong grupong to. So may ibang strategy ako. Yan. Ano pa? Is firm on the outcome. Kung napagkaisahan na po ng grupo, ito ang ating gagawin, sige. Kasi minsan di ba at the end of the meeting, okay, ito na ang napag-usapan, biglang mahihirit, paano pa ganito? Aba, nagulantang na lahat. Kaya magsisimula ulit. Para saan na yung napagdesisyonan ng grupo, right? What else? It is flexible on tactics, okay? Flexible, okay? If this doesn't work for you, let me try another method, okay? Ano pa? Is energetic. Dapat puno ng buhay ka. Kung ikaw ay walang kalatoy-latoy sa iyong pagmi-meeting, right? They don't even look at you eye to eye, then how can you be effective? You should, elicit a lot of energy and positivism in what you say and what you do. Ano pa? Is an active listener. Siyempre, mahirap yun, di ba? Lahat papakinggan mo. Minsan kasi kahit paulit-ulit ang sinasabi ng mga participants, you still need to listen. Kahit na mahaba, you need to synthesize, right? Ano pa? Is good at non-verbals. Maganda yung non-verbals, right? Alam na nila, you don't need to say quiet, I remember we have a principal, pag nagme-meeting kami, pag nanahimik na yan, oh my goodness, lahat kami, mananahimik na. Kasi alam na namin, he or she doesn't need to say, quiet please listen. No, hindi na. Non-verbals are also very useful. Kasi minsan ginagamit natin sa classroom yan, di ba? Kung nagwa 1, 2, 3 tayo, aba, sige, sa meeting natin, may ibig sabihin ng 1, may ibig sabihin ng 2, may ibig sabihin ng 3. 1, let me have your attention, okay? 2, magsasalita na ako. Number 3, it's your turn to talk. Okay, So, pwede rin pala yung mga ganon. Yes. You just need to be creative. And number 1, it should involve everyone. Okay, that's what we want, The meeting is not simply dominated by the people who love to talk. We should be able to give a chance for those who doesn't really participate most of the time. Now, this one is a nice diagram of the facilitation modes, right? So, from this part to this part, okay, going that way, it starts from what? From trainer's contribution to the content. Okay, ang contribution mo sa telling, puro ikaw, di ba? Proposing, ikaw pa rin to. Moderating, parang binibigay mo na yung power sa kabila eh. Stimulating, di yung sila na ang na-stimulated, they're the ones working, and empowering, sila na ang nagtratrabaho sa isang meeting. Galing, ano? Ang interaction din, ang interaction ng tao. Dito, ikaw lang ang interaction. Dito, nagiging laganap na ang interaction. Ang ownership, pagmamay-ari ng outcome, okay? Yung buying power, parang buying power. I believe in that. So dito, ikaw lang ang naniniwala sa mga proposals mo, pero dito, nagiging sila na. Okay? The energy rin. Energy mo lang moving towards their energy. Time availability. Alright? The time is yours. Here now, the time is theirs. So, it starts by telling. Telling yung mga simpleng meeting na, ito ang ating gagawin. Sabi ni principal, ito. Sabi ng ating supervisor, ito. It's one way. Parang in Bloom's taxonomy, parang nasa lower level pa lang yan. Right? Proposing, sinasabi mo, tapos may konting magre-react, okay? But eventually, yung gusto mo rin pagsusunod. Then moderating, ito sila, fina-facilitate mo na yan. Sila na nagto-talk, they're giving suggestions, because your work is very stimulating, at the end, sila na ang gumagawa. So, very nice, right? From low to high involvement between the trainer and the participant. So, yan ang mga nangyayari. Now, let's reflect. Are we good in telling? Suppose, saan ka magaling mag-facilitate ng meeting? That's our next question. Are you good in telling? Ito. Are you good in proposing, moderating, stimulating, or empowering the others to do the work? Okay, so that's what's gonna be. So I explained this already, right? So let's just review it. Transmitting information lang. Proposing, you're selling the idea. Gusto mo mag-yes sila, right? And moderating, you're encouraging productive conversation. Like I said, nag-uusap na sila and you can hear their thoughts and feelings as well. Stimulating means encouraging a richly creative environment. You make them more creative through the things that you do. And empowering means you're enabling them, your staff, your participants, to manage themselves. Okay? Saan ka magaling mag-facilitate? Isipin mo, kayang-kaya ko to. Piliin nyo po. And that will be our second breakout session. Which mode of facilitation are you best at? Ito, kayang-kaya ko tong telling na to kasi binabasa lang yan. And, give us a reason why. And, cool. Which mode of facilitation you think you need improvement on? I need to improve on this. Mahina talaga ako dito. Okay? How to make it stimulating. Just be honest and why. Okay? Are you ready? Second group discussion. We'll call you back after a specific time. Okay? So thank you for that sharing. It's nice to know, which facilitation modes are you good at para kung ikaw, supervisor ka, principal ka, you can delegate. Sa telling, magaling tong si teacher A. Ito, pag-stimulate, magaling si teacher B, right? When you delegate, who's gonna facilitate meetings, it is useful to know where the forte of your teachers are. Okay, so today, we'll talk about the 5 basic tips for facilitating in-person meetings. Okay, in-person muna tayo. Mamaya we'll have a portion for online meetings. 5 basic tips. Ito lang, umuwi kayo at alam nyo na itong 5 to, masaya na po ako. Okay, number 1, be prepared. Okay, so by failing to prepare, you are preparing to fail. Lagi sinasabi yan sa akin ng aking teacher doong elementary at high school pa ako, right? That was said by Benjamin Franklin. Merong isang saying pa, to be prepared is half the victory. See, basta handa ka lang. You know, you've conquered already half of your battle. Okay, number 1, be prepared. Say to yourself, hoy, ikaw, be prepared. Okay, so being prepared means you're ready to face the problems in a meeting. If the participants, number 1, are not clear with their objectives of the meeting, then there will be no progress. Diba? Tayo nga, nagle-lesson plan tayo sa classroom, sinusulat natin yung mga objectives natin. May cognitive, may affective, may psychomotor pa, diba? Ginagawa pa rin yan. Pero kami dito, hindi na sinusulat yan eh. Anyway, alright, so nililista natin yan. Pati tayo, right? Meron pa rin tayong objectives. You need to spell them out. Tapos ano pa? Group size, yes. If the group or the agenda are too large, it will not be possible to fully discuss issues or encourage active participation at all. Alright? Ano ba yung imi-meeting mo? Is it the whole student body? Are you facilitating a meeting just for, a specific learning community? 10 people? Depende sa number of participants yan. The agenda becomes too pressured and nothing is given sufficient time. Hindi mo pwedeng isiksik lahat ng napakadaming agenda sa isang napakalaking grupo. Okay? The agenda will vary depending also on the size of the participants. A common and troubling dynamic that often emerges is that for a given agenda topic, only a few people speak, and facilitator rushes to a proposed decision by presuming that others agree. Yun nga, because of napakaraming agenda o napakaraming tao, nagsalita lang yung dalawang very vocal na teachers, yun na ang gusto ng buong faculty. You cannot assume that. You should be ready to face these problems. Okay, ano pa? We also have the lack of key factors. Okay, now, who are these key factors? Key factors are the people you need in the meeting. If not, it will be paralyzed. Suppose you're talking about budget. Okay, if you're talking about budget, andyan ba yung treasurer nyo? Andun ba yung auditor ninyo? Okay, andun ba yung books? Okay, if you're talking about maintenance of a building, andun ba did you invite the janitors? Did you invite the custodian? If you're talking about funding, did you invite your PTA representatives? Are they there? If you're talking about students' feelings and thoughts, wala man lang estudyante doon. Sino nagde-decide kung anong gusto ng estudyante? Yung teachers lang ba? Well, invite your student council in your meeting. Alright? So, key actors should be there. Ano pa? Disruptive behavior. This you should be ready, right? Kung sa classroom, may iba-ibang disruptive behaviors, same din sa ating mga meetings. So, which can destroy or damage the effectiveness of your meeting. Some are deliberate, sinasadya nung iba. But often, disruptive behaviors are unintentional. Hindi naman sadya nung iba. Participants who are not clear about the meeting objectives will send the discussion off the tangent. Kasi yung mga hindi prepared, akala nila kahit ano pwedeng pag-usapan. Hindi. Okay? Sometimes individuals become angry or rigid or stubborn if they interpret someone else's comments as being disrespectful. O yun naman minsan. Pinoy facilitators are sometimes very personal or emotional. Nag-comment lang yung isa about a specific topic, it's just really an objective criticism, minsan pine-personal. Yan, mahirap sa mga Pinoy yan, di ba? So, as a facilitator, be ready to face all of this. And by being prepared, you can eliminate or reduce some of these problems. Okay, now, next we will watch this video. It's a YouTube video, so I will pause this and I'll play it separately of being unprepared. Okay, manood lang tayo. Now, to prepare for a meeting, it is important that you gather good intelligence to serve the group. Okay? So, intelligence. Paano yan? Parang gera, di ba? May intelligence ka. Pag sinabing may intelligence ka, may first-hand information ka about a certain situation, about a certain topic, right? So, when you attend the meeting, you already know what is the view of your boss, anong gusto ng boss mo, you already know how the people will be affected, right? Anong masasabi ng mga parents, okay? You already have information of the about or data about students. Ready ka, ready ka. You have them at the tip of your fingers, okay? Ano pa? Anticipating challenges. Okay? Now, in anticipating challenges as the result of the agenda planning process, gathering of information, okay, facilitators can anticipate challenges in the meeting. To skillfully meet these challenges, it may be beneficial to do some work prior to the actual meeting. Okay? Especially po kung may mga conflict situations. Yan yung mga challenges. You know that within the meeting, Teacher A and Teacher B ay magbabangayan. Why don't you meet separately with them? Pag-usapan na ba, ano ba yung bangayan ninyo? Paano kayo mag-agree? Ganyan, di ba? Ano pa mga challenges mo? Alam mo, si teacher, itong grupo ng teacher na to, ito yung mga senior teachers or yung experienced teachers, ito ang kokontra. So why don't you meet with them separately? Mag-lunch ka with them. Pre-meeting meeting. Parang ganon. So you already have a sense. You can already throw information or some proposals to them so that bago pa lang may mag-meeting, may buy-in na sila. Ayun, pinaghahandaan po natin yung mga challenges na yan. Alam mo, yung union leader nandun at kokontra yan at sabihin, paano ang aming mga karapatan? Kami ba ay babayaran? Paano ang oras? Ganyan-ganyan. O, kinausap mo na yan. Alam mo na yung batas na gusto nilang ipatupad at ready ka nang harapin kung ano man ang kanilang ibabato sa iyo. Okay, let's continue. We need the following pre-work. Pre means bago pa lang may trabaho na. Ang hirap naman. Meeting ka na, may trabaho pa. Yes, trabaho before the trabaho. Okay, meeting time is valuable and it consumes human resources at a very high rate. Facilitators need to ensure that time is well used. Each item of the agenda should be assessed to see that if any pre-work would be helpful to make maximum use of time in the meetings. For example, are the documents ready? Ayan, paghahandaan mo na yan, di ba? Prepping the team. Next is prepping the team. In many meetings, participants may be playing roles such as making presentation, okay, facilitation of certain sections of the agenda. Sila ang magli-lead ng breakout groups. Merong isang grupo na magno-note taking, ganyan. Prep mo na, may little teams who will help you make the meeting successful. Okay, i-clarify mo na rin sa kanila yung mga presenters, kunyari, may magpre-present. Okay, alam na nila, 3 minutes lang po kayo magpre-prepare. At kunyari, may a-attend sa meeting, right? So, kasi kunyari, faculty meeting lang yan and you wanna invite the administrator, you know, ilalagay mo na si administrator sa una. Okay, sa inyo po yung first 5 minutes, then after that, you can go. Alright? So, may specific time na rin para dyan. Tsaka, alam na nila kung anong roles ang gagawin nila. Logistics. Okay, logistics na tayo. Now, we walk through the agenda with the person responsible with logistics. Okay, so if you have to talk to the custodian, to the janitor, ito po ang kailangan natin. Sa simula po, may aircon na dapat yung kwarto, andito po nakalagay ang table ng kakainan nila, dito may mga chairs, ganyan-ganyan. They need to have this information as well, right? If you have a tech person, dito po yung camera natin, dito po yung ilaw, we need saksakan ng mga laptops nila, kailangan ma-charge, we need flip charts, we need markers, kasi mag-small group session po kami. Oh my goodness, ang dami, no? Yes, all those logistic things should be prepared in advance. Okay. Now, creating expectations. Kailangan the participants should come in the meeting with clear and appropriate expectations. Kailangan alam na nila bakit may meeting. Ano bang main purpose nito? For that reason, right? Kasi some people might go there with different expectations. Ay, ano ko, may meeting kami with these teachers. Iaangal ko yung sweldo natin kasi kapos tayo, something like that. Pero hindi yan ang agenda eh. Dapat alam na nila. Kaya nga, it's the best practice to what? To review the agenda at the beginning, and of course, you email them already the agenda in advance. Yan po ang ating paghahandaan. Okay, so let's specifically talk about the objectives and the agenda muna. That's the next section. Okay, the meeting objectives, okay, do you want to have a decision? At the end ba, kailangan we know what the group will do? Or do you just want an agreement? May proposed solution ka na and you just want them to buy in? Or do you want to generate ideas? Okay? Get varied ideas and test out which is the best one. Or gusto mo lang ng status report? Kamusta na ba ang Committee on Finance? Committee on Budget? Kamusta ng ating Committee on Fellowship? Right? And are you communicating something? May sasabihin ka lang ba? Or are you raising awareness? Kailangan malaman nyo ito para sa kinabutihan ng ating grupo. Are you trying to influence them with your own thoughts and feelings? Or are you making plans for the immediate future or for the future? Okay. Or are you just coordinating all the different things people are doing? Yan ang objective ng isang meeting. Okay? Ano ba dito ang gagawin natin sa meeting na ito? Pwede ba isa lang? Pwede sabay? Pwede, it's all up to you. You have to know this. And therefore, the most important thing is to simply focus, and focus. To have determined what your meeting objective is, complete this sentence. At the end of the meeting, I want the group to. Ayan. Ilalagay mo na yan. Isusulat mo na kung ano. Parang, like I said, just like the lesson plan, ito ang gusto kong mangyari. Now, to prepare for the agenda, consider the following factors. Agenda, ayan na yung mga basic topics na ililista natin. Priorities, yan. What do we mean by priority? What absolutely must be covered? Agenda by hierarchy. Easy to hardest or hardest to easiest. Nasa sayo yan, okay? Some people will start with, the hardest one first and then pa easy na. Okay, para pag hindi natapos, at least nagawa na yung main priorities. Okay, you should also consider the next one is the results. What do we need to accomplish at the end of the meeting? Okay, kaya nga at the end of the meeting, may timetable sometimes nakalista. Ito ang ating part ng agenda, kailangan at this date magawa ito. Ilista yun, kailangan nakalista sa minutes. Participants, okay? Who needs to attend the meeting for it to be successful? May mga essential or non-essential or resource persons or visitors ba dapat? You have to decide on that. And then what else? The sequence, like I said, the order in which you want to cover your topics, right? Ano ba mas mahalaga? Ang less mahalaga. And another thing you have to consider is the timing. How much time will you spend for each topic? Okay, that's why there is time prioritization. Okay, so for example, it's in timing. There are agendas wherein the time is already specified for each. Okay, for example, unfreezing or team building, 20 minutes. Announcements is only 10 minutes. Yan, nakalista. That's a good habit to have it specified. And the date and time is of course important. Kailan ka bang magmi-meeting? Is it the end of the school year ka ba magmi-meeting? Is it a Friday? Is it after lunch or before lunch? The timing, okay, the time within the day and the date itself is also very crucial, okay? Huwag ka magmi-meeting na pabakasyon na dahil wala na. Ang utak ng tao ay nasa Christmas break na. What else? The place, okay? The place is also important. You don't want to jam-pack everybody in a small room and there is no place to do your breakout rooms, okay? Is the room equipped with all the furnitures needed? Do you need snacks? Pwede ba gamitan ng technology yan? Do you have all the resources needed? Yan, pag-iisipin mo pa rin yan, ang place. So the next topic is some important energy considerations in planning agendas. Para yung energy mo talagang ma-maximize mo. Number one is participation. You know, people would learn more and they are enlivened if they participate. There are real limits though on how much information can passively take in at one time. Okay? Kasi napapagod ang tao kung nakaupo lang doon. Oh, yes, yes, yes. Sulat, sulat, sulat. No? Try to change the participation. Sometimes make the participants work by dyads, by triads, small group. Why? You want to sustain the energy for a long period of time. Lalo na yung mga PD before the start of the school year, right? You're given 2 hours. How will you extend their energy? You know, kung ang mga bata, ang attention span nila ay only a few minutes, now, dagdagan mo lang ng konting minutes. Yan ang attention span ng teachers. Okay. You should take note also of shifting modes. Iba-ibang mode, right? People can sustain their attention for a long time if there is a mix of activities. For example, so small group presentation muna, then there is big group presentation, there is physical activities, you know, may mga challenging discussion, may uplifting exercise. It will also help also if you have different modalities in presentation. May visual, may auditory, may kinesthetic, pinagagalaw mo sila. Iba-ibahin mo, hindi pwedeng stagnant lang. Next, whole beings. Remember to engage the body, the heart, the spirit, as well as the head. For example, sitting too long dulls your energy. Sinabi ko na yan. One of the best way to keep energy fresh is to get the people up and moving. Okay? Examples of that would be stretching, exercising, you know, yung iba nga may prayer, may reflection pa, di ba? May unfreezer, ayan, magaling ang mga teachers dyan. May mga songs, may gawin nyo ng TikTok style dances. Kaya kung may teacher na magaling mag-TikTok, kasi ituro mo yung move na yan, okay? May mga breaks in between, ayan. Kaya may pagkain din minsan, may snacks, may inumin. And that's part of the last part of this, care for physical needs. Siyempre, may mga needs sila. Give them bathroom break, give them their coffee, give them their snacks, okay? Para yung the sugar would at least make them alive during your meeting. And it also keeps them hydrated and para maganda ang inyong meeting. Meeting norms, parang rules sa isang meeting. Now, sa classroom nga natin, may mga rules tayo, di ba? Kasi gusto natin smooth running ang ating mga classroom. Same with our meetings. There should be specific norms agreed upon and followed by the group. Now, these are just examples of meeting norms. Let's go over some of them. You are responsible for the success. Okay, one person speaks at a time. Alam nila, sometimes we call it one mic. Isa lang ang mic. Hindi pwedeng sabay-sabay magsasalita. Be supportive of all opinions. Be on time. Nakalista yan. Be on time. Minsan may parusa nga. Pag nag-late ka, may fee of $5. Think of process, not personality. Think on how you can be done. It can be done, not how it can't. Parang thinking positive, right? Be flexible in your own thinking, out of the box. What is said here stays here. Confidentiality. Kailangan hindi chinichismis. Yung pinag-usapan sa high school, hindi pwede i-share dun sa middle school. Okay, something like that. Phone and computers off. Ayan. Kasi lakas ang temptation ng pagte-text-text, pagtingin sa telepono. Sabihin natin, rule yan, walang devices unless there's an emergency, right? And details. Okay? Ano pa? Positive tone, begin and end in time. What else? We listen carefully. Okay, those are some basic rules. And of course, norms also in virtual meetings. This is an example, being on time pa rin, mute your mic right away, have your videos on, participate with your best effort, okay, listen, use the thumbs up, use the chat and nod. So same thing. So you specify those norms. Now, another one, okay, same thing. This is online, camera, same thing. Okay. Lighting rin. Minsan yung lighting, no? Para nakikita yung mukha. Of course, it is best that the teachers make their own norms or rules so that there is buy-in. Hindi dinikta lang ng principal o dinikta lang ng supervisor. Now, I am sharing with you, you can Google this, SRI School Reform Initiative. Now, they give you protocols or parang step-by-step process on how to make your ground rules. For example, ito po, magagawa natin within 30 minutes. Okay? Process. Ask everyone to write down what each person needs in order to work productively in the group. Naglilista muna. Number 2, each participant names one thing from their written list. Pipiliin ko, ito ang isi-share ko. Tapos pagka-share niya, ask for any clarification. Now, so pag nakalista na ang mga suggestion, if the list is very long, more than 10 ground rules, ask them, it could be limited na konti lang. See? So this SRI, this is just a process, guys. This is a process. If you go to their website, they will tell you different types of protocols that you could use depending kung ano ang objective mo. I'll tell you about that later. But our objective here is forming ground rules. Ano pa mga tips natin sa paggagawa ng ground rules? Maganda po, nakasulat sa isang poster paper, nakasulat at ipaskil nyo lang po yan dun sa meeting room all the time. Okay? Para if you're a facilitator, something's going on. Oh, excuse me everybody, let's look at rule number 3. Rule number 3 means one mic, di ba? Isa lang magsasalita. So, if I'm the facilitator, I would just clap rule 3. Then they will look at rule 3. Hindi na ako mamamahiya. Okay? So, you know, it depends on your creativity, on how you implement those rules as well. Hindi naman pwedeng may rules na hindi naman sinusundan. Ito pa yung tuloy-tuloy, di ba? Hindi pa pala tapos yung kanina. Ask if everyone can abide by the listed ground rules. Ask if any one of the ground rules might be hard for the group. Hindi naman pwede agree lahat. Hindi naman pwede yan. So, aangal yung iba. O sige, pag-usapan natin. While work is in progress, refer to the ground rules whenever there would help group process. So, like I said, naka-post yan. Pag may problema, everybody, let's look at these ground rules. Okay? Check on the ground rules when reflection is done on the group work. Okay, ito po ginagawa namin sa aming meeting. At the end of the meeting, ine-evaluate. Tingnan po natin which of the ground rules po ang hindi natin nasundan. And you know, people will be honest. They will tell us, naku, hindi natin nasundan yung confidentiality. Kasi yung pinag-usapan natin kanina, tinext ko na kaagad sa aking amiga sa kabilang faculty room. Alright, so ganyan. Mahalaga po ang rules. Next is involving everyone. Diba? In your regular classroom, that's what you want. All the students to be involved. Same thing in facilitating a meeting. We want everybody really, you know, diving in and participating in any way they can. Now, let's watch this video muna. Let's pause and then I'll play this YouTube video. Now, group dynamics. Ano ba nangyayari sa mga grupo natin whenever we're having a meeting and ang behavior nila? So, going up, if you're up here, there is more acceptance. Okay? Pagtanggap ng grupo kung ano man ang pinagkaisahan ng ating meeting. Okay, if you're way down here, ito naman yung antagonism o pagkokontra na hindi sila agree. Okay, so if you're a passive, you're both down. Talagang wala. Ganun lang, para lang you're like a wallflower in the classroom. Grouchy na parang, ano ba, ate, kuya, okay ka lang? Opposing, lagi oppose. Lahat ng sabihin mo, yung opposite side ang sinasabi. Ang rebellious, ito naman yung talagang hindi lang opposite, baka nananakit pa, baka may ginagawa pang aksyon laban para sa'yo. Okay? Ito yung malaking grupo ng mga tao, yung mga hesitating. Parang okay naman siya na parang ayoko. O sige na nga, ganun. Ito rin yung torn apart naman. Ang hesitating may acceptance, pero hindi naman sila more on the rebellious part. Okay? Torn apart, hati sila. Okay, half-half, half-half. The golden triangle are the people that we want to convince. Okay? Kasi malapit na sila sa committed. Alright? May konting hesitancy, pero we want them to be on the committed part. Okay? In a meeting, people can be classified within this dynamics and behavior. Okay? Naiisip nyo na ba, si Miss ganito, siya yung passive. Ay, si Mr. ganyan, siya yung rebellious. Ay, yung kumari ko, siya yung hesitating all the time. Okay? Nakikita nyo, you can identify who these teachers are. Now, saan ka kaya dito? Okay? Saan ka dito whenever you attend your regular meeting? And that's the next breakout discussion. When attending your regular staff or faculty meeting, yung laging inaatendahan mo, which general behavior describes you? Saan ka dyan? Okay? Identify yourself. And if you say, oh, I'm passive, and share why. Share why. Okay? Are we ready? Okay, group discussion ulit, and then we'll come back. Okay? Happy sharing. Let's talk about collective action decisions. Sometimes you need to facilitate a meeting like this so that it would generate something very tangible and very useful and decided by the people. For example, you have data that tells you that your special ed students needed the computer talaga. Okay, sige, pag-decision na natin. So you share the information. Kailangan pala itong student natin walang laptop, and then we need to buy them. I-prioritize natin yung mga special ed students. So you share the information to others. Nag-usap na kayo, you know who these students are, where they live, what's their socioeconomic status, and then prioritization of issues. Pag-usapan na natin, sila ba dapat, ang special ed students ba dapat, o yung mga low-performing kids, ano ba dapat, anong type of computer ba dapat bibili natin, you prioritize na ano yung mahalaga, okay? And then you construct proposals. Okay, so yes, we need to buy these computers. Ito na ang proposal natin. Bibili tayo dito sa supplier na to, o may mga donors naman. I know some parents, right? So iba-ibang suggestions lalabas yan. Pag-uusapan uli yan ng grupo. Okay, let's make our collective action decision. Ito ang proposal 1, 2, 3, 4. Ano ang mas feasible dyan? Let's decide on this proposal. Mas parang tangible siya at pwede natin gawin. At the end, okay, ginawa na natin. Let's try to implement it. How will we monitor it? How will we evaluate it? Effective ba yung binilan natin ng computer? Ginagamit ba ito? Ang daming process, Yes, that will happen in a continuous meeting. Sometimes, of course, all of this doesn't happen in one meeting. Minsan, sa first meeting ito, sa second meeting, ayan. So, again, participation is the key here. Now, as much as we want everybody to participate, sometimes, we cannot accommodate everybody. May magsasuggest dyan ng something na hindi naman related sa topic. Ang pinag-uusapan nyo ay ang cafeteria, kung ano yung mga food na isa-serve natin sa mga estudyante. Biglang nagtaas ng kamay itong si Teacher B at sinabi, no, let's talk about the sweldo and the uniform. Oh my goodness. So this is what you do. Use a parking lot. Some of you probably have used this already. So may mga post-its tayo within the meeting. Off tangent yan. Pakisulat na lang, ma'am, at ilagay mo sa parking lot. And then at a certain time of the parking lot, we could go back and revisit them. Natapos na natin ang priority natin. We have extra 5 minutes. Let's go and look at the parking lot. And after looking at the parking lot, eto ba pwede natin isama sa next agenda natin? Look at this. They are being clustered even. Okay, this is about research question. Okay, maybe we can talk about this next month. Okay, ito, i-assign ko na yan sa'yo, Teacher A, since ikaw nag-propose niyan. Okay, come to us prepared next meeting and give us your proposals. So parking lot, will help you prioritize your specified agenda para hindi malihis ang pinag-uusapan. Okay, so I talked a while ago about SRI, this website, okay, SRI School Reform Initiative. They will list down protocols. What it offers structured processes to support focus or productive conversation. Okay, yun ang gusto niya. Na sa isang meeting, hindi nagdo-dominate yung the usual person. It should be collective all the time. It should build collective understanding and drive school improvement. Thoughtful use of this protocol is an integral part of building resilience for professional learning communities. So, ano meron dyan? Ito pa ang pupuntahan nyo, protocols and resources. And ano yung mga topics dyan? For example, dun sa meeting nyo, you're facilitating a meeting about student work. Naku, marami pong mga protocols na pwedeng sundan. Okay? You wanna have a meeting about reflection, about observation, about a dialogue, o may dilemma kayo sa grupo nyo. Okay? It will tell you what to do. Ano yung process to solve that dilemma? You're planning on something. Okay? You want something about team building. Meron din sila dyan. Success analysis. Successful ba itong project natin? They will tell you what are the steps to follow and how to conduct it in the meeting. They will even tell you this is good for 5 minutes you do this, 10 minutes you do this, and then you will need the following. Ay napakagandang resource po ito if you are an administrator or even a teacher leader. Okay, so this is what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to stay on time, of course. So to stay on time is very important. Okay, that's why in some agenda, the teacher or the administrator will write down the allotted time for each agenda. And of course, you are the timekeeper, or you could delegate it to somebody. Okay, Miss K, pwede po ba ikaw ang mag-set ng time? So meron siyang literally use the cell phone to see that you don't go over the nakaka-stress itong picture na ito, no? Habang nagsasalita ako, parang dapat bilisan ko. Okay. Para we won't go over the specific time in our agenda. Okay. Now, actually, it's not just time. If you're a facilitator, you're like a pilot. A pilot would have like what? A dashboard in front of him, right? Ang daming minomonitor. Parang yung gas, minomonitor mo, yung air, yung wind, yung oxygen, lahat. Same thing as a facilitator, okay? You check out the amplitude or the level of energy of the participants. High ba or low ang energy nila? Therefore, you need to adjust. Nakita mo, 7 na ang natutulog. Ano ang gagawin ko? Okay, exercise tayo, stretch muna tayo, something like that, okay? And then frequency, ano ba ang tone of energy nila? Isang tone lang ba, monotonous, o gusto natin iba-ibahin? Kung di, antukin na naman. And look for the patterns of participation. Is it always participant 7 who does all the talking, and ito nag-react, 3 lang ang nagre-react, itong mga to walang ginagawa. You're looking for that pattern. Wala akong narinig kay participant number 12, something like that. And the time, of course. You have your real time versus your scheduled time. Should I adjust the time for this agenda? It's up to you. You're looking at that and tracking progress on agenda, items, and goals. Task 1 done. Task 2 done, task 3 done. You're checking all of this. Hay, trabaho yan ng facilitator. Okay? And as a good pilot, you of course adjust the gauge so that smooth ang lipad natin. All right, next is timing is the key. Okay, packing too much into the available time. Yan ang problema natin. We're trying to siksikize everything into a small amount of time. So how do you prevent that? Be realistic in allotting your time. If the prayer is only good for 2 minutes, be sure it's done within 2 minutes. If this agenda would entail a discussion, so dapat give much time in the discussion part. Okay? planning for the unplanned. Dapat ready ka rin. That's why, sabi natin kanina, prioritize rin the way you to write down your agenda. Kung hindi natuloy yung kung kulang na ng oras, the remaining agendas could be moved to the next meeting. That could happen, so you should be ready. Okay? Next steps or action plan is what happens towards the end of the meeting. Nandiyan na yung sinasummarize na ng facilitator kung ano yung napagkaisa ng grupo. Nandiyan na yung you're reminding people of their responsibilities, what should they do next, and when are the due dates. Okay? Tignan natin ano yung mga strategies towards the conclusion of your meeting. Now, when closing the meeting, the possible elements to consider are the following. The next steps, like I said, ano ba ang gagawin natin susunod? I-review mo yon. That's why nga po nakasulat ang some people, when they write their agenda and their notes, so ito ang agenda, beside that there's a column, doon nilalagay ang notes. Beside another column, nakalagay rin people responsible. So for example, the agenda is about buying food for graduation. So, ang next column na pagkaisahan, ang grade 7 teachers will take care of it. Okay, may column po na doon. Si Miss A ang leader. Ang deadline for proposal is this one. Tasting will be on this date. Naka-spell out po yan. So, yan po ang next steps. Next one is to celebrate success. Okay, of course, at the end of meeting, lalo na kung madugo ang meeting nyo, you need to celebrate. Yes, thank you. Palakpakan po natin. Natapos natin po ang decision na ito and we're ready to implement whatever we talked about. Acknowledgement. This is very important. You invited people in your meeting. We thank you for attending our meeting. Mr. A and Mr. B and Mr. C and Mrs. D, thank you for your valuable contribution, especially for giving us the inputs on these topics. Okay, so they will feel good, and next time you want to invite them, they're going to be there again. You acknowledge those people who needed to be acknowledged. Okay, and of course, you acknowledge those who help you. You had breakout groups. Thank you for the leaders. Thank you for the recorder. Thank you for the timekeeper. Banggitin po natin yan. Closure. Closure is considering once again the group's energy. What else will help bring a feeling of closure? One way to make closure is this. You could ask people to say, ano po ang takeaway ninyo as we leave our meeting? Nagustuhan ko ito. One way to close the meeting would be also to evaluate the rules. Sabi ko kanina, di ba? Natupad ba natin ang mga rules na ito? One way to close is, let's go back and look at our parking lot. Ito po ang pwede natin gawin sa ating next meeting. Okay? So that's how you close. Hindi yung bigla-bigla na lang, aalis na. And some people, since in the Philippines, most of us are Christian people, so sometimes they end with a prayer. Okay? So, ganyan po ang mag-close ng meeting. Part 3 is virtual meeting reminders. Everything that, like I said, about facilitating a regular meeting, it also applies to virtual meeting. Pati yung preparation, participation, all of that. Only thing is we need to adapt depending on the limitations of technology. Now, the best practices could be the following. I could share some. Test technology ahead of time. Alam po natin ang technology, ang Zoom, ang internet, may load ka ba, may kuryente ba, maganda ba ang lighting, may saksakan ba, all of this should be prepared in advance. Like I do sometimes, bago pa mag-Zoom, pupuntahan ko na yung link na yan, gumagana ba, kaya ko ba mag-breakout rooms, o kung di ko kaya, ide-delegate ko ba yung breakout rooms. Test it ahead of time. Hindi pwede during the actual meeting time already. Okay? Gumagana ba ang camera? Ang PowerPoint ba? Is it on cue? The videos, nakaset na ba? If you're using links in YouTube, kailangan naka-open na yung tab, naka-ready na, ready to press play. Ganyan. Meeting timing, okay? Ano ba? Will I maximize 1 hour or will I give a break? Should I start on time? Okay, meron ba akong do now activity? Ano ba yung do now na yan? Some people will come early kaysa ma-board sila. Okay, can you answer this question in the chat room? Ayan. Can you write the following in the chat room while we're waiting? Okay, you have connection question. How are you doing? Some opening questions. Okay, write down your name and where you from. Yan. Agenda, may agenda ka pa rin. Na-send mo na yan ahead of time. Na-email mo na sa kanila. Aside from your email, you can also show it in your virtual presentation. Nasa PowerPoint mo na yan. Is it open for adjustment or not? You talk about it. Okay? And then turning on your video. That's really a challenge for all of us, for teachers in motivating our students to turn on their videos, much more for teachers. So although for teachers mas madali sana, but there are still teachers who might be hesitant to turn on their videos. So case-to-case basis yan. Kasi minsan nahihiya tayo sa background natin, nagplaplansya, may naglalaba, o magulo sa likod o maingay. So you just have to be flexible about that. Okay, assigning roles. So, meron ka bang tech person? Do you have the co-host? Okay, meron ka bang recorder? May timekeeper? Before they go to the breakout rooms, klaro ba? Alam ba nila yung tanong? Alam ba nila sino ang gagawa nito? Sino ang magiging secretary? So, assigning roles. Icebreakers. Dapat ready ka kaysa mabore yung mga estudyante, di ba? So may group dynamics, pwede ka mag-games, online games, pwede ka mag-bring me kahit online, may I Spy, may Kahoot, di ba? Quizzes. Ayan, maraming mga softwares dyan. That's another PD if you talk about icebreakers online. Okay, meeting video conferences, visual clues are very important. I will just go through this quickly, okay? It's harder to know what's going on because their videos are not on, right? So it is important for the participants to read the email or doing other work. Okay? Hindi pwede yung doing other work. And then managing the flow of conversation. Sino ba nagsasalita? Do you allow them to speak? That's why nga maganda naman sa online kasi may chat room. Okay? They don't need to speak verbally. They can, write down their thoughts and use the symbols, the icons, the emoticons in Zoom. What else? Some tips. Email the agenda ahead of time. Equipment, okay. Na-try mo na yung Zoom mo. Yung presentation mo, yung PowerPoint mo is ready. We talked about all already. And then, know who is present. Maganda sa Zoom kasi may pangalan na, di ba? Hindi ka mag-isip ano ba pangalan. You don't need name tags anymore. That's the good thing. But if you want, you have a list in front of you. That's also fine. Okay? Begin to recognize voices. Sometimes nagpe-present ka, biglang nagsalita. Oh, that's you. Sino yan? Di ba? Hindi ko kilala. Okay, establish a pattern of seeking out opinions. Okay, Zoom poll, Mentimeter poll everywhere, thumbs up, clapping, okay, anything para may reaction ka. Check in often to ensure participants are following. You can ask questions. Gising pa ba kayo? Okay, tell something. Type 1, type 2, type 3 kung gising ka pa, type 4 kung tulog ka na. Manage participants needing to leave and rejoin the group. Okay, kung kailangan aalis na lang ba o magsusulat na lang sa chat room o I need to go to the bathroom. Okay, assign the recorder, who's in charge of the Google document, explain while there are dead spaces. Bakit walang nangyayari? Oh, I'm searching for my document. Oh, I'm turning on the PowerPoint so they know what's happening. Oh, we're transitioning from big group to small group. And keep a sense of humor. Patawa naman minsan. Screw-ups. Ano yung mga kapalpakan na pwedeng mangyari? Okay, let's watch this. And makikita natin ang isang palpak na meeting. So these are the screw-ups that could happen. Long discussions. Yes, self-explanatory. Pag sobrang haba, wala na. Hindi ka na pinakikinggan. Going on and on. Okay, walang katapusan. And then hub and spoke. Parang yung bisikleta, 'di ba? May hub, tas yung spoke nandun. Lahat emanating to the or for the facilitator. Lahat question, sagot ni facilitator. Question, sagot ni facilitator. Question, sagot ni facilitator. Everything going to the middle. Not good, right? Being tight and controlling. We don't want to be a facilitator na hawak lahat ng tao sa kamay. Okay? No, hindi pwede yan. Ito next, ito next, ito next. Try to loosen up a bit. Alright? Unwilling to make tough but needed confrontation. Okay, ayaw mo ng confrontation, ayaw mong magdebate doon, kaya ini-ignore mo na lang o i-skipin mo yung topic na yan. No, hayaan mo rin yun. Kailangan yan. Kailangan yan. You need to hear both sides as well. The problem is, how would you facilitate or how would you reconcile those different opinions? Ano pa? Dominant view. Marami yan, di ba? Lagi na lang sila nagsasalita. Minsan, patapos na nga, magtatanong pa. Gusto na mag-uwian ng lahat. Pushing your own. Ayaw mo naman na halatang halata na ikaw ang facilitator at you're the one pushing your own agenda. Time eaters, nauubos ang oras saan? Sa pagpre-prepare ng technology, pagpre-prepare ng pagkain, naubos na sa bathroom, pagkakape. Okay, be careful with that. If you say, we need to come back after 3 minutes or 5 minutes, you have to be here. Begin on time. The emotionally triggered, marami dyan, di ba? Yung mga attend na meeting, may dala-dala, okay, na-trigger lang ng isang teacher, ayun na nag-flare up na kaagad. Be careful with that. Okay, we all screw up, bottom line. The top facilitator screw up is screwing up. Not coping to it and trying to make it seem like the group's failure. Okay, so it will happen. So get ready, but don't blame it on the others and think of it as your own responsibility. That's why mahalaga talaga ang being prepared. Okay, so online, meron tayong mga team building and Zoom breakers para naman maging interesting. Okay, so let me just suggest some of this. Cutie Pie, send baby pictures in advance, and guess who this baby is? Once upon a time, creativity in every people, build a story, parang dugtungan kwento. Okay, once upon a time, si Totoy ay pumunta sa tindahan. What happened next? Itutuloy ng isa. Tuloy-tuloy na kwento lang. Last word response, parang round robin. Integrate the last sentence of your own story. Okay? 3 truths and 1 lie. Okay, each one will say something. 3 katotohanan at 1 kasinungalingan. Then everybody will judge. Ano doon ang hindi totoo? Zoom breakers. Ano ba? Turuan mo sila ng clap, ng cheering. High, low, left, right. High fives kayo. High 5, low 5. Okay? Right 5, left 5. Something like that. Write on the chat. Okay, lagay nyo yung mga intro nyo. Scale, rate the following, 1 through 5. Write it in the chat. May brain breaks kayo. O sige, allowed kayo. Since pagod na kayo ka-zoom, turn off your camera muna for this period. Okay, great. Give them Kahoot, quizzes. Okay, pwede mong sila umattend in a meeting in a costume. May theme kayo. Ganyan, di ba? Change your background. Use filters. Yan. Those things will make your Zoom meetings interesting. Okay, dice breakers. May dice ka, may virtual dice ka, itatapon mo dyan sa online. Okay, number 3. Okay, all of you, answer number 3. What is the grossest food you have ever tried? Ayan, share sila at bakit. For example, you throw number 6. What is one thing you are really good at? So, ayan, these little things will help the participant to be more involved, awake, especially awake, during these long meetings. Okay, so at this point, we're ready to practice what we've learned. Okay, kailangan maalala nyo lahat ng mga best practices, tsaka yung mga principles, and you apply it in this group activity. So breakout session number 4, designate roles muna. And number 2, you will conduct a meeting, parang regular meeting. And then, dapat may output kayo at the end of the time which I will specify. Okay, anong responsibilities? Be sure there's a facilitator, sino magli-lead ng discussion, there's a recorder, maglilista lang, timekeeper, be sure ang pag-share ay each one will talk for 1 minute lang, ganun lang. Okay, the facilitator can specify the times, of course. And the reporter, just in case we have time at the end, I will ask somebody to report whatever the group has done. So ito po ang guide questions pag may mga assigned roles na po tayo. So your supervisor wants to solicit suggestions from the staff. What top 3 creative innovations can we implement as we start this school year? Assuming po na 100% in-person na lahat tayo by September. Kailangan specific po yung ating mga creative innovations, ha? And it could be in any range about school-related, curriculum, management, assessment, professional development, students, student council, anything, any innovation na kakaiba. Yun ang gusto nating malaman. Tatlo, we only need the top 3. So, you will share that. Okay, bahala si facilitator, how will he do that? And then at the end, when we come back, we could talk about the results and the process that happened. Okay, so we'll go to the Zoom rooms. And this is the last portion. We'll have question and answer portion. Get ready with your question and I'll try my best to answer all of this. Okay? And these are my resources. Maraming salamat sa lahat. Salamat sa pakikinig. Sana po may natutunan kayo na pwede nyong i-apply sa inyong pagtuturo. Okay? Rampage Math. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. Bye. Paalam.